Right. Dandavat, devotees. Jai, Vishnu Principal Brahmacharya Vastuta Rashata Shishimad Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai, Vishnu Principal Brahmacharya Vastuta Rashata Shishimad Bhakti Santa Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Today we're reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, Volume 1, Chapter 3, and it's the glories of Haridas Thakur. We've been reading and discussing pastimes of Haridas Thakur and his chanting of the holy name, and his dedication to the name converts the prostitute Chintamani into a devotee. The Ramachandra Khan, who was envious of Srila Haridas Thakur because he's a big zamindar, landowner, aristocrat, and he's very envious of Haridas Thakur because people pay more attention to him, and he's a simple, humble Vaishnava residing in a cave and chanting the holy names of the Lord. So he tries to unhinge his practice, his sadhana, his spiritual life, and fails. Okay. We're up to text 125 of chapter 3. Aji Sambhata Haive Hena Jnana Chila Samasta Ratri Nilo Nama Samapta Nahila. I thought that today I would be able to finish my performance of yajna, my chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. I tried my best to chant the holy name all night, but I did not finish. Still I did not finish. Kali Sampate Habe Tabe Habe Vrata Banga Swachande Tamara Sangeha Ibeka Sangha. Tomorrow I will surely finish, and my vow will be fulfilled. Then it will be possible for me to enjoy with you in full freedom. So he's saying to prostitute that this will happen, but of course it doesn't happen, as we know. Haridas Thakur never wanted to enjoy the prostitute, but he tricked her to deliver her by giving her a chance to hear the holy name of the Lord while he chanted. Pure devotees chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and simply by hearing this chanting from a purified transcendental person, one is purified of all sinful activities, no matter how low born or fallen one may be. As soon as one is thus completely free from the reactions of sinful activities, he is eligible to render devotional service to the Lord. This is the process for engaging the fallen souls in devotional service. As Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 28, Yesham tva anta gatim papam jaganam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nimukta pajanti mam drida vrataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. Can you close the door there? Thank you. Vishya Gya Samachara Kanera Kahila Aradina Sandhya Haite Takura Tanya Hila. The prostitute returned to Ramachandra Khan and informed him of what had happened. The next day, she came earlier at the beginning of the evening and stayed with Haridas Thakur. Tulasike Thakur Rake Namaskara Kari Dvare Vasi Namashune Vale Hari Hari. After offering obeisances to the Tulasi plant and Haridas Thakur, she sat down on the threshold of the room. Thus she began to hear Haridas Thakur's chanting, and she also personally chanted Hari Hari, the holy name of the Lord. Nama Purna Haiba Aji Bali Haridasa Tabe Purna Aji Tamara Abhilasha. Today it will be possible for me to finish my chanting, Haridas Thakur informed her. Then I shall satisfy all your desires. Kirtana Karita Aiche Ratri Ch.Ch Hela Thakurela Sane Vishara Mane Pire Gela. The night ended while Haridas Thakur was chanting, but by his association the mind of the prostitute had changed. Dandavat Hanna Pade Takura Charane Ramachandra Kanera Kata Kaila Nivedane. The prostitute, now purified, fell at the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur and confessed that Ramachandra Khan had appointed her to pollute him. Veshya Hane Muni Parva Karichonya Para Kripa Karikara Moha Dame Nistara. Because I've taken the profession of a prostitute, she said, I performed unlimited sinful acts. My Lord, be merciful to me. Deliver my fallen soul. Haridas Thakur replied, Takura kahe kanera kata saba amijani agna murka se tara duka nahi mani. Haridas Thakur replied, I know everything about the conspiracy of Ramachandra Khan. He is nothing but an ignorant fool. Therefore his activities do not make me feel unhappy. The mercy of the Vaishnava, merciful to everybody. Say dina yatama istana chadia, dina dina rahilana and thoma nistara lagia. On the very day Ramachandra Khan was planning his intrigue against me, I would have left this place immediately. But because you came to me, I stayed here for 3 days to deliver you. Vishya kahe kripa kari kara ubadesha kimora katravya yate baya bhava klesha. The prostitute said, kindly act as my spiritual master. Instruct me in my duty by which to get relief from material existence. Takura kahe garera dravya brahmane karadana egare ashitomi karaha vishrama. Haridas Thakur replied, immediately go home and distribute to the brahmanas whatever property you have. Then come back to this room and stay here forever in Krishna consciousness. Haridas Thakur's instruction that the prostitute should distribute to the brahmanas all the property she had at home is very significant. Haridas Thakur never advised the prostitute to give charity to the so-called Daridra Narayan, poor Narayan, or any other such persons. According to Vedic civilization, charity should be given only to the qualified brahmanas, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 42. Shamo damas tapa shocham kshanti arjavam evacha jnanam vijnanam astikyam brahma karma swabhavajam. The Brahminical qualifications are truthfulness, control of the senses and mind, tolerance, simplicity, knowledge, practical application of transcendental knowledge in one's life, and full faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Persons engaged in pursuing spiritual understanding have no time to earn their livelihood. They depend completely on the mercy of the Lord, who says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 22, that he personally carries to them all the necessities. Yoga Shemam Vahamyaham. The Vedic civilization recommends that one give charity to brahmanas and sannyasis, not to the so-called Daridra Narayan. Narayan cannot be Daridra, nor can Daridra be Narayan. For these are contradictory terms. Atheistic men invent such concoctions and preach them to fools, but charity should actually be given to brahmanas and sannyasis, because whatever money they get, they spend for Krishna. Whatever charity one gives to the brahmanas goes to Krishna, who says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 27, Yat karoshi, yad ashnashi, yad juhoshi dadasi yat, yat tapasasi konteya, tat kurusha madapanam. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all the austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. Everything actually belongs to Krishna, but so-called civilized men unfortunately think that everything belongs to them. This is the mistake of materialistic civilization. The prostitute Veshya had earned money by questionable means, and therefore Haridas Thakur advised her to distribute to the brahmanas whatever she possessed. When Srila Rupa Goswami retired from family life, he distributed 50% of his income to the brahmanas and Vaishnavas. A brahmana knows what the absolute truth is. The Vaishnava, knowing the absolute truth, acts on behalf of the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Generally, one earns money by many questionable means. Therefore, at some time, one should retire and distribute whatever one has to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas who engage in devotional service by preaching the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nirantara Namalau Karatalasi Sevana Achirat Pabe Tabe Krishnera Charana. Chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra continuously and render service to the Tulasi plant by watering her and offering prayers to her. In this way, you will very soon get the opportunity to be sheltered at the lotus feet of Krishna. At least 5,000 years ago, Lord Sri Krishna expressed his desire that everyone surrender to him, Sarva Dhamam Parityaja Mamekanam Sharanam Vraja. Why is it that people cannot do this? Krishna assures, Am Tam Sarva Pavayo Mokshayishami Mashuchaha. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Everyone is suffering from the results of sinful activities, but Krishna says that if one surrenders unto him, he will protect one from sinful reactions. Modern civilization, however, is interested neither in Krishna nor in getting relief from sinful acts. Therefore, men are suffering. Suffering. Surrender is the ultimate instruction of Bhagavad Gita. But for one who cannot surrender to the Lotus feet of Krishna, it is better to chant the Hare Krishna mantra constantly under the instruction of Haridas Thakur. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we are teaching our followers to chant the Hare Krishna mantra continuously on beads. Even those who are not accustomed to this practice are advised to chant at least 16 rounds on their beads, so that they may be trained. Otherwise, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended, Trinadapi Sunichana, Tarorapi Sahishnana, Amanina Manadana, Kitaniha, Sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Hari Thakur says, Nirantara Namalao, chant the Hare Krishna mantra without stopping. Although Krishna wants everyone to surrender to his lotus feet, because of people's sinful activities, they cannot do this. Namam dushkatina mudaha prapadyante naradamaha. Rascals and fools, the lowest of men who engage in sinful activities, cannot suddenly surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna. Nevertheless, if they begin chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and rendering service unto the Tulasi plant, they will very soon be able to surrender. One's real duty is to surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna. But if one is unable to do so, he should adopt this process, as introduced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his most confidential servant, Namacharya Shil Haridas Thakur. This is the way to achieve success in Krishna consciousness. Itta Bali Tamara Nama Upadeshakari Utiya Chaila Thakura Bali Hari Hari. After thus instructing the prostitute about the process of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Haridas Thakur stood up and left, continuously chanting Hari Hari. Tabase Veshya Gorora Agnya Lila Laila Krita Vita Yeva Chila Brahmanere Dila. Thereafter, the prostitute distributed to the Brahmanas whatever household possessions she had, following the order of her spiritual master. Sometimes the word Griha Vritti is substituted for the word Griha Vita. Vritti means profession. The Griha Vritti of the prostitute was to enchant foolish people and induce them to indulge in sex. Here, however, Griha Vritti is not a suitable word. The proper word is Griha Vita, which means all the possessions she had in her home. All the girl's possessions had been earned by professional prostitution, were therefore products of her sinful life. When such possessions are given to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, who can engage them in the service of the Lord because of their advancement in spiritual life, this indirectly helps the person who gives the charity but he is thus relieved of sinful reactions. As Krishna promises, Aham tam sarva pabhebhyo mokshayishami. I shall save you from all sinful reactions. When our Krishna-conscious devotees go out to beg charity or collect contributions in the form of membership fees, the money thus coming to the Krishna-conscious movement is strictly employed to advance Krishna consciousness all over the world. The Krishna-conscious devotees collect the money of others for the service of Krishna, and they are satisfied with Krishna Prasad and whatever he gives them for their maintenance. They do not desire material comforts. However, they go to great pains to engage the possessions of prostitutes or persons who are more or less like prostitutes in the service of the Lord and thus free from sinful reactions. Jai Srila Bhakti Namaracharya Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai devotees ki Jai.
Maharaj, I have to do something.
Okay. So I'll repeat. So they do not, the Krishna-conscious devotees collect the money of others for the service of Krishna, and they are satisfied with Krishna's prasad and whatever he gives them for their maintenance. They do not desire material comforts. However, they go to great pains to engage the possessions of prostitutes or persons who are more or less like prostitutes in the service of the Lord, and thus free them from sinful reactions. A Vaishnava guru accepts money or other contributions, but he does not employ such contributions for sense gratification. A pure Vaishnava thinks himself unfit to help free men, to help free even one person from the actions of sinful life. But he engages one's hard-earned money in the service of the Lord, and thus frees one from sinful reactions. A Vaishnava guru is never dependent on the contributions of his disciples. Following the instructions of Haridas Thakur, a pure Vaishnava does not personally take even a single paisa from anyone, but he induces his followers to spend for the service of the Lord whatever possessions they have. Mata mudi ika vastri rahila segare, ratri dine tina laksha nama grahana kare. Forgive me one moment, I just have to do something and close the door, because prostitute shaved her head clean in accordance with Vaishnava principles and stayed in that room, wearing only one cloth. Following in the footsteps of her spiritual master, she began chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 300,000 times a day. She chanted throughout the entire day and night. Tulasi sevana kare charvana upavasa indriya jamana haira premier prakasha. She worshipped the Tulasi plant, following in the footsteps of her spiritual master. Instead of eating regularly, she chewed whatever food she received as alms. And if nothing was supplied, she would fast. Thus, by eating frugally and fasting, she conquered her senses. And as soon as her senses were controlled, symptoms of love of Godhead appeared in her person. Prasiddha Vaishnavi Haila Parama Mahanti Bada Bada Vaishnava Tanra Dashaneta Yanti. Thus the prostitute became a celebrated devotee. She became very advanced in spiritual life, and many stalwart Vaishnavas would come to see her. Stalwart, highly advanced Vaishnava devotees are not interested in seeing prostitutes. When a prostitute or any other fallen soul becomes a Vaishnava, stalwart Vaishnavas are interested in seeing them. Anyone can be turned into a Vaishnava if he or she follows the Vaishnava principles. A devotee who follows these principles is no longer on the material platform. Therefore, it is one's strict adherence to the principles that should be considered, not the country of one's birth. Many devotees join our Krishna consciousness movement from Europe and America, but one should not therefore consider them European Vaishnavas or American Vaishnavas. A Vaishnava is a Vaishnava, should therefore be given all respect due to a Vaishnava. Vishara charitra deki loke chamatkara haridasera mahima kahikari namaskara. Seeing the sublime character of the prostitute, everyone was astonished. Everyone glorified the influence of Haridas Thakur and offered him obeisances. It is said, Palena pariciyate. It is said, Palena pariciyate. One is recognized by the result of his actions. In Vaishnava society, there are many types of Vaishnavas. Some of them are called Goswamis, some are called Swamis, some are Prabhus, and some are Prabhupada. One is not recognized, however, simply by such a name. A spiritual master is recognized as an actual guru when it is seen that he has changed to the character of his disciples. Haridas Thakur actually changed the character of the professional prostitute. People greatly appreciated this, and therefore they all offered obeisances to Haridas Thakur and glorified him. Ramachandra Kana Parada Bija Kaila Se Bija Vriksha Hanya Agate Palila. By inducing a prostitute to disturb Haridas Thakur, Ramachandra Khan caused the seed of offense at his lotus feet to germinate. This seed later became a tree, and when it fructified, Ramachandra Khan ate its fruits. Mahada Paradera Pala Adbhuta Katana Prastava Pana Kaishana Bhaktagana. This offense at the lotus feet of an exalted devotee has resulted in a wonderful narration. Taking advantage of the opportunity afforded by these incidents, I shall explain what happened. O devotees, please listen. Sahaja Avishnava Ramachandra Kana Haridasera Parade Haila Asura Samana. Ramachandra Khan was naturally a non-devotee. Now, having offended the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur, he became just like a demonic atheist. Vaishnava Dharma Nindakare Vaishnava Apamana Bahudinera Aparade Paila Parinama. Because of blaspheming the cult of Vaishnavism and insulting the devotees for a long time, he now received the results of his offensive activities. Ramachandra Khan was a great offender at the lotus feet of Vaishnavas and Vishnu. Just as Ravana, although born of a Brahmana father, Vishvasrava, was nevertheless called an Asura or Rakshasa because of his offences against Lord Ramachandra, Vishnu, and Hanuman, a Vaishnava. So Ramachandra Khan also became such an Asura because of offences against Haridas Thakur and many others. Nityananda Gashai Gode Yaba Ila Prema Pracharite Tabe Brahmite Lagila. When Lord Nityananda returned to Bengal to preach the cult of Bhakti, love of Godhead, he began touring all over the country. Prema Prachana Ara Pashanda Dalana Doikare Avaduta Karena Brahmana. For two purposes, to spread the cult of Bhakti and to defeat and subdue the atheists. Lord Nityananda, the most dedicated devotee of the Lord, moved throughout the country, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 8. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkatam dharma sangstapana artaya sambhavami yoge yoge. Lord Krishna appears in every millennium for two purposes, namely to deliver the devotees and kill the non-devotees. His devotees also have two similar purposes, to preach the Bhakti cult of Krishna, Krishna consciousness, and defeat all kinds of agnostics and atheistic demons. Nityananda Prabhu carried out the order of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this way. And those who strictly follow Nityananda Prabhu perform the same activities. There are two classes of devotees. One is called Kostyanandi and the other is called Bhajananandi. A devotee who does not preach but always engages in devotional activities is called Bhajananandi. Whereas a devotee who not only is expert in devotional service but also preaches the cult of Bhakti, defeats all kinds of agnostics, is called Kostyanandi. Savagna Nityananda Aila Taragare Aisha Vasila Durga Mandapa Upare. Lord Nityananda, who is omniscient because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, came to the house of Ramachandra Khan and sat down on the altar of the Durga Mandapa. Well-to-do Hindu gentlemen constructed their houses with a place called the Durga Mandapa for the worship of the goddess Durga. There they generally held worship of the goddess every year in the month of Ashwina, October. Ramachandra Khan possessed such a Durga Mandapa at his residence. Aneka loka jana sange angana barila pitara hoite Ramachandra sevaka pataila. When the Durga Mandapa and the courtyard were filled with crowds of men, Ramachandra Khan, who was inside the house, sent his servant to Lord Nityananda. In those days, and even now, the palatial buildings of respectable people, especially in the villages of Bengal, were divided into two parts. The inside part was especially meant for the family, and the ladies would live there, unexposed to men. That part was called the Pitara Badi, or inside house. In the outside house, or Bahir Badi, the respectable gentleman received visitors and kept his business office. The Durga Mandapa would be part of the outside house. Thus, when Lord Nityananda entered the outside house, Ramachandra Khan was in the inside house with the members of his family. When Nityananda Prabhu arrived, Ramachandra Khan did not receive him personally, but sent his servant to inform him indirectly to go away. Sivaka bale koshaya more pataila kana krastera kare tomaya dibe vasa stana. The servant informed Lord Nityananda, "My dear sir, Ramachandra Khan sent me to accommodate you in some common man's house. Goyalara koshala haya atyanta vistara iyan sankirnastala tomar manushya apara." You might go to the house of a milkman, for the cowshed is spacious, whereas the space here in the Durga Mandapa is insufficient because you have many followers with you. Vitara chila shoni krode bahirila ata asi koshai kahita lagila. When Nityananda Prabhu heard this order from the servant of Ramachandra Khan, he became very angry and came out. Laughing very loudly, he spoke as follows: Satya kaya gara mora yogya naya vlecha govada kare tara yogaya haya. Ramachandra Khan has spoken rightly. This place is unfit for me. It is fit for cow-killing meat-eaters. Etabali krode koshai utiya chalila tare dande dite grame narahila. Having said this, Lord Nityananda stood up and left in an angry mood. To chastise Ramachandra Khan, he did not even stay in that village. Ihan Ramachandra Kana sevaka agyadila koshai han vasila tara mati kodaila. Ramachandra Khan ordered the servant to dig up the dirt in the place where Nityananda Prabhu sat. Kumaya jali lepila sabha mandira prangana tabu Ramachandra ramana nahila parasana. To purify the Durga Mandapa temple and the courtyard of Ramachandra Khan sprinkled and smeared it with water mixed with cow dung, but still his mind was unsatisfied. Dasyo vritti kare Ramachandra rajare na deha kara krudahanya mlecha ujira aila tara gara. Ramachandra Khan's business was questionable, for he tried to avoid paying income tax to the government. Therefore, the government's Minister of Finance was angry and came to his residence. Ashi se Durga Mandape Vasa Kaila, Avadya Vadukari Mangsha Segari Randaila. The Mohammedan minister made his residence in the Durga Mandapa of Ramachandra Khan. He killed a cow and cooked the meat at the very place. Sriputra Sahita Ramachandra Bandhiya Taragara Grama Lute Tina Dina Rahiya. He arrested Ramachandra Khan along with his wife and sons, and then he continuously plundered the house and village for 3 days. Jai Shri Guru Guranga Radhagiri Daju Ki Jai. Segare Tina Dina Kare Amedia Randhana Aradina Sabalanya Kari Lagamana. In that very room he cooked the flesh of a cow for 3 consecutive days. Then the next day he left, accompanied by his followers. Jati Dana Kana Kanera Sakalaila Bahudina Parayanta Grama Ujjadiya Rahila. The Mohammedan minister took away Ramachandra Khan's position, wealth and followers. For many days the village remained deserted. Okay. Antya Pamanaya Desha Gramahaya Ch.Ch. Shishi Guru Grangaradi Giridyaji Ki Jai. Forgive me. Mahantera Apamana Desha Gramehaya Eka Janara Doshi Sabha Desha Ujadaya. Whenever an advanced devotee is insulted, for one man's fault the entire town or place is afflicted. Haridasa Takura Chalalila Chandapure Asayare Hela Balarama Cheragare. Haridas Thakur walked until he came to the village known as Chandapur. There he stayed at the house of Balaramacharya. So this is a good point to finish there, and we can continue tomorrow, hopefully. Where in complete contrast to what happened in the village of Ramachandra Khan, the village of Chandapur. Haridas Thakur is treated with great respect and honour, befitting his position as an acharya of the holy name. Jai Shishi Guru Guranga Radhagiri Daju Ki Jai. Hare Raya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha. Hare Raya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha. Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govindaram Sri Madhusudan. Gopal Govindaram Sri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Rupa Sanatana Japata Raghunatha. Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhata Raghunatha. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhata Jasa Raghunatha. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhata Jasa Raghunatha. Echai Goshai Kori Charana Vandan. Echai Goshai Kori Charana Vandan. Jao Ete Bigana Abhishta Puran. Jao Ete Bigana Abhishta Puran. Echai Goshai Chandra Muni Chandra Das. Echai Goshai Chandra Muni Chandra Das. Kansabara Padarenu Mura Pancagras. Kansabara Padarenu Mura Pancagras. Kandera Charana Sevi Bhakti Shanibas. Kandera Charana Sevi Bhakti Shanibas. Jana me jana me more Abhilash. Jana me jana me more Abhilash. Echai Goshai Jabe Braja Korabas. Echai Goshai Jabe Braja Korabas. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. Ananda Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Ananda Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Majaiyaman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Majaiyaman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Jai Ch.Ch Guru Garanga Radha Giridhaji ki Jai. Jai Ch.Ch Guru Garanga Gandhava Govinda Sanda Giridhari Kapalji ki Jai. Jai Vishnu Paranta Parivrakacharya Varistotala Shaka Ch.Ch Bhakti Nirmalacharya Devasai Maharaj ki Jai. Close the door.